Greetings, friends. If you, like me, get fascinated by weapons history when it involves genius engineers, political intrigue, and small but deadly artifacts of their era, you're in the right place. Before we dive into the story, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and drop Frommer in the comments so I know we're on the same wavelength. Now get ready for a long, but I promise captivating journey. We won't just be talking about pieces of metal. We'll be talking about destinies, about genius born at the crossroads of empires, and about how a pocket pistol can become a mirror of an entire era. So let's go. Today's story is about babies, but not the kind that babble and smile. No, this is the story of steel babies, created to quietly and effectively solve adult problems. We're talking about the pocket pistols of the Hungarian gunsmith wizard, Rudolf von Frommer. And here's the paradox. Often, it's these compact, almost toy-like creations that tell us more about their time than bulky rifles and machine guns. They are the product of private life, fear, the desire for protection in troubled times, a status symbol, and the last argument in a dark alley. They were bought by bankers and journalists, ladies of high society, and intelligence agents. This is the weapon of a civilization balancing on the edge of an abyss. But to truly understand the Frommer phenomenon, we need to immerse ourselves in that unique historical and economic stew in which Hungary was simmering at the beginning of the 20th century. Imagine not the modern small country, but the powerful kingdom of Hungary, one of the two halves of the great and colossally complex Austro-Hungarian Empire. Budapest is not just a capital. It's the beating economic and industrial heart, the Paris on the Danube. The city is growing rapidly, building the first metro in continental Europe and massive factories. And against this backdrop, acute political tension. The empire is a patchwork quilt of dozens of nationalities, about to tear at the seams. Nationalism is bubbling, conspiracies are brewing in coffee houses, and clashes flare up on the streets. The wealthy bourgeoisie and aristocracy feel like they're sitting on a volcano. Demand for personal, concealed self-defense weapons is growing like yeast. But this isn't just demand for a peace. It's demand for a technological, reliable status weapon. And here, at the intersection of German engineering school and Hungarian entrepreneurship, he appears, Rudolf Frommer. His factory, Fegyver es Gépgyár, Weapon and Machine Factory, in Budapest, was a locomotive of innovation. And his main hit, the Frommer stop pistol, adopted by the Hungarian army in 1912. An incredibly complex, even over-engineered weapon, with a long barrel recoil and a rotating breech lock, like a real rifle. For the army, perhaps an extravagance. But Frommer thought like a businessman. He didn't just create an army pistol. He created a platform. And here's the juiciest point that many miss. We're used to thinking, first, an engineer makes a large army model and then, by cutting the barrel, releases a civilian compact. With Frommer, everything was exactly the opposite. This is the key to understanding his genius. Let's look at the dry numbers I dug up on Hungarian resources. The stop began production in 1910. In 1912, when it was officially adopted by the army, the factory simultaneously launched production of the Frommer Baby, a reduced version. And most importantly, both pistols are covered by the same patent from 1912. The patent drawings? They depict precisely a compact pistol. What does this tell us? That in Frommer's head, the idea of an elegant, technologically advanced pocket pistol for wealthy city dwellers was born first. But then the Balkan Wars erupted, the smell of a big war in Europe was in the air, and the shrewd businessman instantly reoriented. He took the ready, already patented baby design, scaled it up, made it more solid, and offered the army a unique novelty, the Frommer stop. A brilliant move. The army gets an advanced weapon, and production is already set up for the civilian model. The parts unification was astounding. Hammers, strikers, triggers, many internal parts of the stop and baby were identical. This reduced the cost many times over. And so the baby hits the market. The advertising slogans of the time are a masterpiece of marketing. Put a military pistol in your vest pocket. Do you understand the hint? You're not buying just a pocket gun. You're buying a miniature copy of an army weapon with all its bells and whistles. For the status-conscious mind of the time, irresistible. At the same time, the cartridges, 7.65mm and 9mm Frommer long, were hotter, more powerful than standard Browning ones. This was an attempt to outperform the main competitor Colt and Brownings in .32 and .380 caliber in ballistics. Sales went through the roof. Imagine Europe on the eve of and during World War I. Fear, uncertainty, banditry. The baby became the companion of thousands. And it proved to be long-lived. It was produced until 1929, with serial numbers indicating over 350,000 units produced. A colossal number for a niche, expensive weapon. But Frommer's genius did not stand still. The war wasn't even over, and he was already working on a new hit. He saw the trend. The world wanted even smaller, even thinner, even lighter. And in 1917, he patents a new action. And then a masterpiece is born, the Frommer Lilliput. Here, a real conceptual revolution took place. Frommer abandoned the complex long recoil system. The Lilliput is now a weapon with a simple blowback action and a fixed barrel. Simpler, cheaper, more compact. He was clearly making a bow to the bestseller of all time, the 1906 Browning in .25 ACP caliber. But Frommer wouldn't be Frommer if he didn't add his own touch. First, he offered two trigger mechanism options, with a concealed or exposed hammer. Second, for the first time in his pistols, he introduced a slide stop. First in the form of a sliding button, an extremely rare feature, collectors hunt for it, then the familiar lever. And the main trump card, modularity. Want to shoot the standard 7.65? Go ahead. Want to? Buy a separate barrel and magazine for .22 long rifle and shoot cheap ammo for practice. This is the level of service in the 1920s. The Lilliput wasn't just a weapon. It was an accessory. Ebonite grips with the FL monogram. Optionally mother of pearl or wood. A nickel-plated tropical version for the colonies. Could truly be hidden anywhere. It even got to the point where special holsters integrated into elements of ladies' attire were offered. This was a phantom weapon, the last line of defense in a glamorous world that was still trying to live by the old pre-war rules. Production of the Lilliput continued until 1939, until a new round of world slaughter. About 35,000 units were produced in total. A lot? No, it's a piecemeal, exclusive item. And that's its value. And now, my personal opinion and analysis. Why are Frommer's pistols, especially his babies, so mesmerizing? Because they are the perfect metaphor for their era. They embody all the contradictions of the time. Elegant external design and incredibly complex, almost baroque internal mechanics, baby. A drive for miniaturization and simultaneously for power, hot cartridges. A desire to be inconspicuous and yet to demonstrate technological superiority. Frommer wasn't just an engineer. He was a psychologist and a marketer. He wasn't selling safety but confidence. Not a weapon, but a piece of military elitism in the pocket of a civilian suit. Economically, his strategy is a textbook on efficiency. Creating a platform unification working simultaneously on the civilian and military sectors, smart export. His pistols sold well in the USA. His factory became one of the pillars of Hungarian industry, surviving war, revolution, and new political regimes. When I hold, figuratively, of course, I'm a law-abiding blogger, a Frommer baby. I feel the chill of history. This pistol could have been in the pocket of a Hungarian aristocrat fleeing the revolution of 1919, or in the purse of a Berlin lady in the Roaring '20s. Or in the desk drawer of a Budapest merchant on the eve of World War II. It's a silent witness to the collapse of empires, a short blossoming, and a new catastrophe. So there you have it, friends. A story that can fit in the palm of your hand. From a small caliber to major historical upheavals. Rudolf Frommer proved that the greatness of weapons thought is measured not only by caliber, but also by the elegance of the solution, the ability to guess the desire of the time and hide the most complex mechanics in a case the size of a cigarette case. That's all for now. But the discussion is just beginning. What do you think? Was Frommer a genius or just a lucky businessman who copied Browning's ideas? What's your take on pocket pistols as historical artifacts? Write your opinions in the comments. Let's argue. Let's discuss. And if you enjoy such deep dives into historical pieces of iron, support the channel with a thumbs up and, most importantly, a subscription. It's the best motivation to dig further and deeper.